If you want a lesson on what not to do if you're a governor of a state in America on social media while riots are breaking out in your state and your streets are on fire and people are being injured, look no further than Gavin Newsom's X account profile, which is exactly what I'm going to do right here, right now on American Advocates. Governor Gavin Newsom is an absolute disaster right now on social media. I'm going to react live to everything he's posting on his X account right now. Starting off with the first most noticeable thing, I've already covered it on a video, this ridiculous pinned tweet from him announcing his lawsuit against President Donald Trump for using the National Guard to help restore law and order to Los Angeles. He's proud of this tweet so much that he pinned it with the official paperwork from his attorney, notifying Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and President Donald Trump himself that they need to rescind control of the California State National Guard back to him. Unreal. His tweet read, "I have formerly requested the Trump administration rescind their unlawful deployment of troops to Los Angeles County and return them to my command. We didn't have a problem until Trump got involved." You can't make this up. This is literally the narrative they're trying to run with. These riots apparently are because Trump got involved. Everything was peaceful until Trump got involved. Okay. This is a serious breach of state sovereignty, inflaming tensions while pulling resources from where they're actually needed. What? So you pulling resources, you mean the National Guard is a resource we're talking about here, right? Pulling them from where they're needed. Where might that be right now? Where else would the National Guard be needed other than the streets of Los Angeles and Compton that are on fire with people shooting fireworks and explosives and throwing crap at law enforcement? Where else would these resources be needed, Gavin? Rescind the order, return control of California. The problem is you had control. You had the option to do something about it, and you stood by and did nothing. That's why President Trump had to step in. It's an embarrassment, not for the Trump administration, but for Governor Gavin Newsom, for Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles, and for California in general. His next tweet, 16 minutes ago, at time of recording of this video, 6:10 p.m. LA, your voice matters. Trump is trying to provoke chaos by sending 4,000 soldiers onto American soil. Foolish agitators who take advantage of Trump's chaos. This is Trump's chaos. Will be held accountable. Stay safe, stay calm. Look out for one another. Oh wow, what a happy place California is right now. All the good old rioters are going to stay safe and look out for one another out there. Stay safe as President Donald Trump has to send in 2,000 more National Guard soldiers to prevent the chaos that's continuing on in the Los Angeles streets. Look out for one another, guys. Good people out there. Next tweet, less than an hour ago, so he sent this right around 5 p.m. Chaos is exactly what Trump wanted, and now California is left to clean up the mess. We're working with local partners to surge over 800 additional state and local law enforcement officers to ensure the safety of our LA communities. A bit too late on that, don't you think? Gee, where was this planning maybe on Friday evening or Saturday morning? That's when this should have been discussed and should have been planned out like this. You're doing it now after an entire weekend of destruction? Also an hour ago he posted, cleaning up Trump's mess. God, it's such a see-through narrative. I mean, there's only two types of people that are running with this narrative right now that it's Trump's mess. Either the kind of people that just hate Trump at all costs and are willing to go along with the narrative and literally not believe anything their eyes are telling them. Or two, it's gotta be people who are just under that 75 IQ threshold where they tune in and are literally programmed to what they're told. Those are the only two types of people I can accept believing this. California surges regional law enforcement response in Los Angeles. Too late, Gavin, too late. Let Papa Trump handle your problems now. And he's going to. 2,000 more additional National Guard soldiers on the way. 4,000 total now will be in California, concentrating around Los Angeles and Compton. And also the Marines. The Marines, I believe, are officially being deployed now. This is a giant mess, and Gavin Newsom is to blame. Here we go. Let's see. An hour ago. Where were Gavin Newsom's priorities an hour ago here while his streets were burning in California? As promised. At Real Donald Trump. At Pete Hegseth. You have the power to solve this problem immediately. Rescind the order. Gavin Newsom, in his official capacity as governor of the state of California, plaintiffs versus Donald Trump defendants. That's it. Gavin Newsom already figured it out. You see, all you do is plan for additional law enforcement to come from nearby states to help out, but you do it 3.5 days late. And then you tell the president to pull back military support out of your state and rescind the National Guard. That solves the problem. Wow. Gavin, genius. Absolute genius. This guy's got it figured out. If only our foolish president Donald Trump would listen and rescind the National Guard, all of those rioters would stop setting cars on fire and stop trying to torch buildings and stop assaulting people, and they would certainly stop looting. All it would take is for President Trump to rescind the National Guard. I can't believe how easy the problem is here to solve. Unreal. Thank you, Gavin, for solving it. Scrolling down more, 2 hours ago, so right around 4 p.m., meeting with local and state officials to discuss strategies to maintain peace. What do you mean maintain peace? That would have been the case maybe on Friday or even Saturday morning if you quelled it fast enough. What do you mean maintain peace? This gaslighting is unbelievable. And if you guys have a hard time believing that it's as bad as I'm telling you it is, you can literally check my video on my page that I published. It's all raw footage. I'll be posting a second video like that, in fact. You see, mainstream media and legacy news doesn't want to report on that, so they're telling you that it is either mostly peaceful or blah, 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 or it's not as bad as you think. They're throwing water bottles at the police. Oh, no, they're throwing concrete slabs, rocks. They're trying to torch the place. They're setting cars on fire. They've tried setting buildings on fire. They're assaulting people. They're looting. They're destroying property from citizens of California. It's terrible. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in America, on a domestic front, that is. So maintain the peace in Los Angeles. State and local leaders are standing together to clean Trump's mess, there it is again, and pick up the pieces to ensure the safety of our communities. I will say this, they're good at sticking to the narratives they create, no matter how outrageous they are. And it does garner, to a certain extent, support from the most mindless of liberals, because somewhere on my page, I'll see comments now about how this is Trump's mess. I will. It does happen that way. So the narrative works, but only on the most thoughtless people of our society, which I guess makes sense. They're liberals. Scrolling down a little more, 5 hours ago, so right around 1 p.m., I'm filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration to end the illegal takeover of the National Guard, which has escalated chaos and violence in Los Angeles. Donald Trump's violation of the U.S. Constitution is an overstep of his authority. We will not let this stand. Good to see where your priorities are at, Gavin. You're so worried about the president helping you out rather than what's going on in your streets. Because apparently, according to you, there's not much happening. You just need to maintain the peace. Maintain the peace in Los Angeles. That's what we're working on, guys. Don't worry. Get out of here. Oh, we got a video. What's this? Haven't seen this one yet. Invoking violence only gives Donald Trump the reaction he's looking for. Attack. Yeah, this is Trump. This is what Trump wanted. He planned this all along. Okay. The president planned riots in the streets of his nation while he's the president, because this makes President Trump look so good. This is what he wanted. Okay. The reaction he's looking for, attacking law enforcement officers just doing their job, is unacceptable, period. Full stop. Protesters who participate in violence or vandalism must be held accountable. Well, good of you to put that message out there, Gavin. Let's see what he's saying here.
These guys, these idiots that are jumping up on cars, burning these Waymos.
Yeah, I have seen this clip, actually.
People,
I'll let it
it's a
play.
Disgrace. Mm-hmm. And the impact they're having on our democracy, there's a lot at risk here. I mean, this is not just a simple act of disobedience. They should be arrested. They should be held accountable. Anyone who attacks any innocent person, including a law enforcement person that's lawfully doing their job. They're members of our community just like everybody else. They go to the same churches. They're good human beings. Mm-hmm. And just because we don't like Donald Trump, just because we don't like their orders, doesn't mean you have the right to hurt or harm people. And that goes for them as well. And we'll hold everybody to a higher level of accountability. But that's not what Trump is after. He's not for peacemaking. He's here for war. He wants a civil war on the streets. These guys,
my God. Just what an idiot. I mean, he's a moron. He's an absolute idiot. This guy right here is a prime example of why local elections matter, and state elections, for that matter. They're important. We need to do better and pay more attention to those elections and not just focus on getting in the president that we want. Unbelievable. He does bring up one good point. Where are the arrests? I've been wondering that too. I think that's a failure on both ends of the aisle. I hate being bipartisan. I like being very biased typically, if I'm being honest with you. But I do believe that this is a bipartisan issue because Republicans are so soft on pursuing justice. I mean, we should be seeing thousands of arrests by now. They've had the opportunity to do so, and they're not doing it. And that is a giant failure. And there are plenty of them out there that deserve arrests. I have so much incriminating footage saved on my computer from what I've saved just off of live streams on YouTube and on Instagram and on X of people assaulting and looting and vandalism. So many arrests should be happening. A lot of this stuff is happening in front of law enforcement too. So unreal. That was a prime example of what not to do if you're in charge of a state in the form of being a governor or in any sort of political leadership position and things are crumbling. We need strength in our leaders, not grandstanding, not virtue signaling, and certainly not deflecting, which is the only mission Governor Gavin Newsom appears to have at this point in time. He's deflecting it all on President Donald Trump, which is incredibly unfair. ICE is there to do their job, and the majority of America backs what President Donald Trump is doing when it comes to immigration policy and ICE. 57% currently, and I'd say in all honesty, after these riots are concluded, that percentage is probably going to soar upward, not downward. So deflecting the blame on President Donald Trump is not only not going to work, but it's a see-through gaslighting attempt that is insulting to the American people because nowadays we don't rely on CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, or even Fox News. We have independent journalism out there, and we have social media. X is currently the #1 news platform online right now, believe it or not, and that's for a reason. The American people have woken up, and we will not be gaslit by mainstream media news sources or even by politicians themselves. We have our own two eyes, and we use them to see the reality of things for what they are on social media now. So blaming stuff on Trump, absolute bozo move. And then on top of it, grandstanding and virtue signaling and trying to claim that there's good people out there. This is an insurrection attempt from Mexicans, many of whom are here in this nation illegally, waving around their Mexican flags while they torch our American flags, spit on them, and assault American citizens in the street. It's despicable. And it didn't have to get this far. But poor liberal policy over the course of the last 10 years in California, along with poor liberal leadership, has allowed this to happen. Gavin Newsom is a disgrace to the office of governor of the state of California, and he's a complete failure. And his social media account on X is a prime example of what not to do when your state is burning. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you think Gavin Newsom should resign as governor. Dislike the video if you are a brain-dead liberal who thinks Gavin Newsom is the best governor in modern-day American history. And regardless of where you stand, subscribe to American Advocates for more content like this.